It was a long run. We had 1960, 2021. I know there was ups and downs, there was decisions to be made.
In the late 50s, Roy and Bess Mullet moved their boys from Montana to Heston, Kansas for schooling. In town, there was a small shop that made tractor cabs and other equipment. Sociology professor Cal Redekop, who believed that business and social good belonged together, was invited to join the company, and Cal invited Roy Mullet to join.
Well, you know, we need some additional investors, and so through really Cal Redekop's influence, our father got involved with the company.
With the launch of the zero-turn mower, the company became a classic success story that would involve the family in some way or another, including leadership positions, for decades to come. The story is a good one itself. In fact, today, Excel Industries is now owned by an international brand. But there's more to it. The machinery of generosity generated by the company's fortunes and the families and investors involved. The Mullet brothers recently got together again.
A family that has a lot of laughter.
On the agenda was to decide who might benefit from a donor-advised fund named after their mom and dad.
We've been meeting now for about 4 or 5 years, and that's been real rewarding too.
This is something that the folks would have supported, and so that's kind of the impetus for where we give.
All the time has kept us closer. Our cousins say about how close we are, even though we are miles apart.
Everence has long served them and many others with these charitable services.
No, it's been nice just to be able to call them up and say, hey, I'd like to, or do it online and say, I'd like to contribute to this. No, personally, it's been great for me.
I'm comfortable that Everence is investing those funds in a way that would be congruent with my belief system. Individually, I get to decide where it goes, so shame on me if I'm having it sent to some place that that doesn't make sense for me. So,
for Cal and Roy and others, giving was a natural part of business operations.
They both had pretty strong feelings about tithing, charitable giving. It's the right thing to do, you know, and I think Roy was real rigorous about that in his farming operation before he got involved with Excel.
Dad had a checkbook, and in it he had part of the income that he had was he labeled the poor fund, and that wasn't for us, even though we were poor, probably.
It was something that was always there. I mean, I can remember Dad writing the check out to the church every Sunday before we'd go to church, and you know, and sometimes he'd let you put it in the plate as it came around and stuff.
As the business grew more elaborate, so did the model for charitable giving.
Instead of having this, well, is it a good year or bad year, and what do we do with all this?
You know, every company goes through ups and downs, and to where it gets close to whether you're going to make it or not.
They decided to use a donor advised fund. And so they would put amounts into there, and then as those work, as you know, they could distribute that amount. In the lean years, they would have some and they would draw that down. The good years, they put a lot in there and they would build it up.
I think we were really fortunate that as we made that switch to zero-turn mowers and relying on zero-turn mowers and getting away from cabs, which at the time was about 40% of our business. It just happened to be that the growth of zero-turn mowers at that time was really starting to take off.
We had those shareholders create their own donor advised funds. And when the allocation of the charity was made, we would move the funds from XL's donor advised fund to the shareholders' donor advised fund, and then they could decide independently, who do I want to give that to, and it would be credit where credit is due, if you will. So Everence worked really well with us in making all that happen.
This engine of philanthropy has resulted in joyful, thriving community projects, and even more than will ever be known.
I think it was truly done out of a motivation of charity, right? It wasn't like, well, if we do this, we're going to get a good name, or it'll help us sell mowers or anything like that. I mean, it was just like, that's the right thing to do.
It was not for any personal reward, but I have to admit that there is a certain gratification about being able to give. I mean, the responses you get.
You know, there was never a burden to give or anything like that. It was always voluntary, and I think it was certainly lead by example.
I mean, it was just like, that's the right thing to do, and that's what they did.